Greer Garson, with her trademark grace and formidable presence, was one of Hollywood's most celebrated actresses during its golden age. Her luminous career spanned several decades, encompassing memorable performances in films such as Mrs. Miniver and Goodbye, Mr. Chips. Join Facts vs. UK as we present Greer Garson married her on-screen son. Their age gap was huge. Early life. Greer Garson was one of the major Hollywood stars during World War II, celebrated for her elegance, eloquence, and strong portrayals of women. She remains one of the iconic actresses of the era. She was born Eileen Evelyn Greer Garson on September 29, 1904, in Manor Park, East Ham, now part of London. Raised by her mother, Nina, after her father's early death, Garson received a sound education that fostered her love for literature and the arts. She attended King's College in London, where she studied French and the classics. After graduating, she worked briefly in advertising and research. However, her interest in theater persisted, and she eventually began working in local theatrical productions. Garson's first steps into the professional acting world were on the British stage. In the early 30s, she garnered positive reviews for her roles in various plays across London's West End. Her talent and charisma didn't go unnoticed. In 1937, while performing in the play Old Music in London, Garson caught the attention of MGM's Louis B. Mayer, who was in the city scouting for talent. He was particularly impressed by her performance and offered her a contract with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. This marked the beginning of her transition from the British stage to the big screen in Hollywood. Her Hollywood debut was in the 1939 film Goodbye, Mr. Chips, opposite Robert Donat. For her role as Catherine, she received her first Academy Award nomination. This success provided a foundation for the series of remarkable films she would partake in during the 40s. She was known for portraying resilient women with grace and depth. As she progressed in her career, she went on to collaborate with some of the industry's best, earning multiple accolades and solidifying her place as one of the brightest stars of the golden age of Hollywood. Career highlights. Some of Greer's most notable highlights include Goodbye, Mr. Chips from 1939, which of course got her the first of her 7 Academy Award nominations. Pride and Prejudice, 1940. She played Elizabeth Bennet opposite Laurence Olivier's Mr. Darcy. Mrs. Miniver, 1942. Possibly her most famous role, Greer Garson portrayed the indomitable Mrs. Miniver, a British housewife during World War II. Her portrayal of a mother's courage and resilience during the trials of war won her an Academy Award for Best Actress. Random Harvest in 42. In this romantic drama, she starred opposite Ronald Colman and received yet another Oscar nomination for her touching portrayal of a woman in love with an amnesiac. Madame Curie in 1943. Garson took on the challenging role of the pioneering scientist Marie Curie, earning yet another Academy Award nomination. The Valley of Decision in 45. Garson portrayed an Irish maid working in a wealthy household who becomes romantically involved with the family's son, played by Gregory Peck. Her performance once again secured her an Oscar nomination. Sunrise at Campobello, 1960. This was another of Garson's standout performances, where she played Eleanor Roosevelt, focusing on Franklin D. Roosevelt's early years and his battle with polio. She made her Broadway debut in 1958 with the play Auntie Mame, taking over the lead role from Rosalind Russell. Beyond acting, she was recognized for her philanthropy, particularly her generous contributions to colleges in the Southwest. In her later years, she took on fewer roles and made appearances in television productions. She accumulated 7 Academy Award nominations for Best Actress, which was a record for consecutive nominations in that category. Her controversial relationship. Greer Garson's relationship with Richard Ney was one of the more talked-about romances of Hollywood's golden age, largely due to the nature of their first collaboration and their age difference. Before their romantic involvement, Ney played Garson's son, Vin Miniver, in the critically acclaimed Mrs. Miniver in 1942. At the time when their relationship became public knowledge, Greer Garson was 12 years Ney's senior. In a Hollywood that often paired older male stars with much younger female love interests without much of an eyebrow raised, the inverse age difference between Garson and Ney was considered unusual and even scandalous by some. Due to the potentially scandalous nature of their relationship, given the on-screen roles and age difference, Garson and Ney initially kept their relationship quiet. However, once it became public knowledge, it was fodder for gossip columnists and the public alike. There were claims, albeit unverified, that MGM, the studio to which Garson was contracted connected, capitalized on the relationship for publicity. The studio was known for managing and sometimes manipulating the public images of its stars, so it's plausible they would use the relationship to keep Garson's name in the headlines, especially given the success of Mrs. Miniver. After marrying Garson, Ney's career faced challenges. Some sources speculate the controversy surrounding their relationship, coupled with his marriage to one of MGM's top stars, made it difficult for him to secure leading roles. Over time, he transitioned more into character roles and eventually moved to New York to focus on stage work. The marriage between Garson and Ney, while starting amidst controversy, lasted for 4 years, from 1943 to 47. Even after the divorce, their relationship remained a notable chapter in both of their personal history. Greer's personal life. Greer Garson, while much celebrated for her professional accomplishments, led a fascinating personal life as well. Beyond her marriage to Richard Ney, she was married twice. Her first was to Edward Snelson, a British civil servant. The couple met at a party in London in 1932. They married the following year but separated shortly after the wedding. Though they remained married on paper until 1943, it's believed they were separated for most of that duration. Snelson later became Sir Edward Snelson and served as a British High Commissioner. In 1949, Garson married a wealthy Texas oilman and cattle rancher, Elijah E. Buddy Fogelson. This marriage proved to be enduring and lasted until Buddy's death in 1987. Together, they split their time between their homes in Los Angeles and their ranch in New Mexico. The couple was known for their philanthropic efforts, notably their significant contributions to the College of Santa Fe, now Santa Fe University of Art and Design, and Texas Tech's Health Sciences Center. Greer also had a close relationship with her mother, Nina. Nina lived with Garson for much of her life in the United States and even made a cameo appearance alongside her daughter in Pride and Prejudice. Greer Garson passed away April 6, 1996 at age 91. Her legacy, both as an iconic actress of Hollywood's golden age and as a committed philanthropist, endures. Mrs. Miniver Facts. Mrs. Miniver is a highly influential film released in 1942. Directed by William Wyler, the film is based on the character created by Jan Struther in her 1930s newspaper columns and subsequent novel. It details the life of a middle-class British family during the early days of World War II. The movie was a big winner at the Academy Awards, winning 6 Oscars, including Best Picture, Best Director for William Wyler, and Best Actress for Greer Garson. Greer Garson's Oscar acceptance speech for her role in the movie reportedly lasted over 5 minutes, which is often cited, though with some contention, as the longest acceptance speech in Oscar history. This led to the Academy instituting time limits on acceptance speeches. President Franklin Roosevelt was so moved by the film and its potential to generate pro-British sentiment among American audiences, he asked for it to be widely shown, and even had the film's closing speech distributed as a flyer during wartime. Now it's time to hear from you. Did you know that Greer Garson's marriage to her former co-star was so controversial at the time? Let us know in the comments section below.